Hello, and welcome to Horror Movie Talk, the horror movie podcast where two schlubby guys talk about spoopy movies, with your hosts Bryce Hanson, the cool collected nihilist, and David Day, an angry man who is always right. This podcast is for lovers of horror movies, old and new, that want to hear about what's in theaters, what's streaming, and fresh takes on old classics, and terrible horror movies that are bad enough to be good. I'm David Day.
I'm Bryce Hanson.
And today we're reviewing Unfriended Dark Web, which was a pretty decent movie.
Yo! Hey, buddy, how you doing? It is game night.
Ow! Ow!
Hey, you ready for this? I got a new laptop.
Actually new.
There's a cyber cafe that I've been working at, and this computer was sitting in the lost and found for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Hang on, you stole someone's computer?
I didn't steal it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's messed up.
And I found this folder. It was hidden. And it automatically connects you to this thing.
Dude, this is dark web.
What's dark web?
Part of the internet where no one can track you.
It's all about drugs, illegal IDs, even assassination for hire.
Yeah, the dark net is mostly about the bad guys.
And this computer's got videos on it, right? Check this out.
I really think you should stop.
Oh, God.
That looked way too real. I think that is real.
Guys, that's what they're trading.
Trade what?
All those videos.
We have to do something, and we have to do it now.
Who's that?
What's happening?
Wait, guys, hold up. Where's Lex?
Wait, that's Lex's building.
No,
You guys.
No. Is that Lex?
He killed Lex!
Who?
The ones who buy the videos, the ones who pick the girls.
What the hell? They've all been watching.
Oh my god. That's my mom.
If they found Lex, can't they find the rest of us too?
They've had control this whole time.
Please, leave us alone! Get out of there right now!
I can hear you. Are you still
Kelly,
there?
I can't
just
see you.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. So the rundown of Dark Web is kind of, it's the sequel to the 2014 movie Unfriended. And if you're like me and saw the first movie, you might be kind of like bracing for impact on this. Dark Web is, in my opinion, a great deal more enjoyable than the first movie. The only thing it really seems to have in common is it ports over the computer screen, kind of found footage computer screen viewing format of Unfriended, but there doesn't really seem to be much else that ties the sequel to the first movie.
I almost wonder if they like make that decision after the fact, that they just had a dark web movie and they're like, we got the similar format, maybe we should just brand it Unfriended, because the only thing that connects them is the creepy like distortion artifacts on the people. And
this one does it better. It leaves, the first one leaves a lot of it to your imagination, which is not in a lot of situations it is in your favor. In Unfriended, the original, that in that case didn't go so well, because as it turned out, it was just you were just supposed to be scared of static. Kind of. It was kind of garbage. But
I never saw the first movie. We're going to talk about that a little more in a minute. But like, what's your like your hot take on the dark web?
It surprised me, because like I was really worried. I saw the original, I think in theaters, and it was not a good movie, and so I was just bracing and ready to be let down by this, and the first 20 minutes of this movie like confirmed all my worst suspicions. It was like, oh, this is gonna be garbage. Oh, these people, this acting is corny. The setup is corny. It's just bad. It's bad on all takes. And then it turned into something that I liked quite a bit more than the first.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised too. Like I went in with very low expectations. The trailer just looked awful. Just looked like, I mean,
it's hard for a movie like this, a movie with this format, and now there's another one with like Harold. From Harold and Kumar. There's another one coming out with the same format. It's hard for these movies' trailers to look good, and because it's kind of a shitty format.
Yeah, it's a really boring. I mean, it just. Are you scared by YouTube tutorials? Then you'll love these movies. I mean, that's what comes across in the trailer.
It relies entirely on the context of what's happening at the moment in the movie, in the story, and it has. Because all the framing is completely still, like, yeah, all the action takes place within a still frame, which removes you a little bit from the physicality of a normal horror movie, right?
Right.
Now you just looking at someone on a screen getting hurt or in danger.
Right. And I'm used to that anyways now with the internet. I mean, what kind of horrible like fail videos that I watch where like I'm laughing at it, but that person is going to be in traction for the next like 3 months
if they're lucky.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I thought like I said, I was kind of surprised at it. I mean, it's not a great movie, but it was much better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And the storytelling was well executed. It wasn't very scary to me.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't super effective as a scary movie, but it was definitely interesting, and the things that they did in it were they were like pretty effective.
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I mean, it had good tension, and that's really, that's what the thing that I enjoy the most about horror movies. I like tension and suspense and letting my mind do all the work, because as soon as like I get to see when I get to see the monster, now it's kind of ruined for me, because my mind is way more scary.
Right.
Whatever I can imagine is spookier.
So I didn't see the first movie at all, and that's another one where I looked at the trailer and I was like, all right, this just seems like a bad idea. It sounds like an old studio exec was like, we need another horror movie for $2 million. Like, what are the kids into nowadays?
Yeah.
Facebook. It's like, but they're not. I mean,
right.
I mean, it's like, are a lot of millennials like on Facebook anymore? Well, I mean, it's like,
yeah. I mean, he wasn't really. Yeah, no, it's a good point, and it was done mostly over Skype.
Yeah, Skype and Facebook. Where all the young kids hang out now.
Right.
Do young people even use video conferencing? Have you ever done video conferencing? Like,
I mean,
you and me like talk on Steam Chat all the time.
Yeah,
but I do not want to see your face, and I don't want my face to be seen.
I have no desire, and that's. This is where I'm so out of touch with like what's normal, because like I feel like my nephew would. Oh man, I don't know. I feel like he would have a different. He'd be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I looked at
whatever he told me. I'd be surprised by, and I don't know what it is. He would either say, "Yeah, we're on video calls all the time," or like, "No, it's." I don't know.
Yeah, I think both of us are just on the far tail of millennial, so I don't know what the kids are doing these days.
Yeah, but I'm too cool for that. Yeah. I'm too cool to know what's cool. So, I mean,
oh yeah, so like the first movie, I mean, it was definitely geared more towards like supernatural, right?
Yeah, the first movie, spoilers, there was like all your stereotypical characters in a Skype chat. And so there was the stoner, and there was kind of the jock, and there was the pretty girl. I can't really recall. I'm probably wrong on some. I remember the stoner, but and they were all on a Skype call talking about something, and then an extra member showed up in the Skype call, and it didn't have a face. It had this generic Skype face with no no profile picture, and they're like, who's this guy? And then slowly but surely, this extra user starts putting himself into their lives more and more, into their the next hour and a half of reality for them, which ends up being kind of their demise.
Yeah. I mean, did it show the person on the screen ever?
No.
Okay.
It was all just, jarring. It was all just fuzzy, static.
Okay. I mean, yeah, but it showed like a fuzzy, static,
knife,
artifacted person on the screen ever?
Not really. I don't think so. I can't recall. It's been
that's only in this movie?
Yes. This movie, that's what made this movie, in my opinion, much better, was the bad guys were real. And a lot of the stuff that took place probably is happening somewhere in the world. It could be. Like, it's not outside the realm of possibility, and it's all your worst fears kind of like come to life.
Yeah. I mean, I was confused because I thought whenever any of the bad guys or bad guy, spoilers, I don't know, whatever. If any of the dark web person people are on screen, they're completely fuzzed out, artifacted, looks like it's a JPEG that's been saved about 1 billion times, but only around their immediate person.
Do I look like I know what a JPEG is?
And I thought that was a takeover from the first Unfriended, because it's never explained. It's just kind of like, it's just a creepy horror movie thing.
What? You mean so the main character...
I'm talking about whenever the dark web people shows up on camera.
Oh,
they're completely fuzzed over.
It's fuzzed over. I think the implication
glitches.
I think the implication is that these are hackers. These are elite hackers who live on the dark web and trade Bitcoin and do horrible things to people because they're from the dark web, and so they have
they're able to glitch a camera just immediately around themselves.
Anywhere they walk, they have a piece of technology on, like a super magnet that just ditches all video footage that is caught of them and makes it all artifacted and crappy.
All of this you have to fill in yourself. I think it's never explained.
It's never explained, but it's a pretty strong implication.
Yeah. And it is creepy. It's spoopy. So let's talk more about the subgenre of the computer screen found footage movies. Like you said, there's one out in theaters right now with Harold.
Is it?
I'm sure he has a name now. But
oh no, I think that we saw the trailer for it on this one.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, it's like movies that look like, basically like a YouTube tutorial. of just following around where people are clicking on screen, and then maybe if they're on a video conference,
it's just someone watching a computer, which is fucking annoying because I do that all day.
Yeah,
like I watch me using a computer all day, and it's not fun.
Yeah, I was, it's one of those eye-rolling things where I'm like, oh, brother, like, someone thought this was a good idea. But it turns out, like, I thought it was pretty interesting storytelling for, like, a pretty average horror movie.
Yeah.
Like, it added a little bit of interest. I think you and me have differing opinions of that first 20 minutes, because I thought it was pretty interesting. It was kind of a slow burn of showing someone just using a computer. There's no talking. It's just someone trying to guess a password for the computer. That's where it starts out. Yeah,
my dread originates with the original movie, so you're probably right.
Yeah. And then it eventually gets to the guy that opens the computer. I mean, you're kind of left to guess like that he stole the computer.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious that not everything is as it should be. Like he's having to replace all these logins for like Skype and Google and Facebook with his login, and so you're kind of like, well, and he's guessing the password to get into the computer at first, so it's kind of like, oh, okay, and then it becomes, they do set it up quite well. They do explain it all quite well. It's all handed to you nicely. I would say that as the format goes, it is something that, like, if my parents sat down to watch this movie, which they would never do, but if someone who enjoyed horror movies and was my parents' level of technology enjoyment or literacy, if they sat down to watch this movie, they would just turn it right off. They'd be like, what is this? I don't have time for this. I don't understand what this is. why is that mouse squiggling around the screen like that?
Yeah.
This is, and it would move too fast for them. The format would move too fast for them, just by virtue of it being on a computer.
The first 20 minutes where there's like barely any speaking or any like setup or exposition, it's all just showing you a guy using this computer and making you kind of assume what the storyline behind it is. It's like very good movie making. It's showing you and not telling you. And then once the video conference starts with his friends, they just come out and just like explain it all and hold your hand through it. And I think like even before then, they're kind of holding your hand, like the cursor is really like hovering over things that like, this is an important plot point, and practically like jamming the cursor towards it, like circling it with the cursor.
Should I do this? It's like it's all doing inquisitive. Go to your computer right now.
Storytelling with cursors.
Go to your computer right now. Pretend you're trying to explain it to a deaf person by emphasizing with the cursor on the screen what you're about to do. Like, you need to exit out of this window. Let's go up to the X and like do a little circle around the X, and just then be like, click it.
Just kind of tickle it.
Yeah,
tickle that link.
Yeah, so there is some of that stuff at the start to kind of like wade you into the shallow end.
It's pretty obvious.
This bad format.
Like you said, I think if my parents watch it, they might be a little confused by that, and they're like, I don't understand technology. But then once the video conference starts and like all the friends are on the line, they pretty much rehash everything that was just shown to you in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and it's made very plainly that yes, this is a stolen computer. And he doesn't know who it belongs to, but he's able to see all the old logins and see messages that are sent to this mystery person. So it's
and then it delves into what where they're going with the story, which is the dark web.
Yeah. So I mean, in terms of that subgenre of found footage, do you think there's any room for this subgenre other than
of computer screen found footage?
Yeah.
Do I think there's any room for it? I mean, yeah, sure.
I just get a little depressed that that's like where we're at.
It's
as
very
a society.
depressing. Yeah, like, absolutely.
This is what our life is, looking at these computer screens, and now you're just reminded of it that there's no excitement in life. Like,
right.
Your life isn't cinematic. Your life is clicking on these links and looking what happens. And
right. But you got to remember,
creep on people.
You got to remember stuff like Blair Witch, where it was it was simultaneously like this huge disappointment to like society and like this huge boom to like the horror genre, the you know, it helped horror quite a bit and gave it a whole new space to work in. And, you know, say what you want, whether or not you like found footage in general, it's a staple, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think, I don't know.
When Blair
Witch came out, do you think that people were groaning over the premise of it? Because I thought it was pretty innovative. And I thought, like, it was pretty genius.
I mean, I'm not saying like this is a revelation like the Blair Witch was,
right?
And I'm not saying that people were groaning about the Blair Witch. I'm just saying that it was a confusing and it was
dirty compared to what.
Right, it was
before.
dirty. It was under budget. This I think Unfriended, Dark Web. I think both of these movies in this series so far had a budget of $1 million. $1 million.
Yeah, that's
and I think the first one did like worldwide did like 64 million.
Jeez.
Yeah. So it didn't do bad.
Yeah.
You know, and so I mean, I think there's room for it, and I think, you know, the better they get at it, the better the better it'll be. But I mean,
it's so static.
Yeah.
It's like it's just one place, and you're kind of. I mean, this movie showed that it's not totally limited to where it can take you, because I mean, you got phones, you can take them around and do video conference stuff. It kind of stretches.
And you can hack into a bunch of static, surveillance cameras that are all around the city or something like that. And you know, I mean, static cameras aren't a bad thing. Like Paranormal Activity has a ton of static cameras, and that's what makes that movie for me, is because you can't see
Right.
Outside, you're just stuck, and then a footstep hits the floor, and you're like, "Oh, damn it!"
So yeah, it's all static and like video conferencing footage, and I thought that it would be pretty taxing as a format, but you know what kind of saves it is the acting. It was surprisingly good.
Yeah,
I thought.
Yeah, I did too. Like the first bit of acting, not so good, and it could lead people to turn it off. That would be my fear for the movie. But yeah, overall,
yeah. I mean, they didn't have a lot to work with because they're all interacting just from a close-up shot in different, you know, in different screens. But like what they relied heavily on, to me, and I make a note of it, was ugly crying faces.
Ugly crying faces.
Yeah. So every actor that was having any kind of extreme reaction just has the reddest face and tears in their eyes.
Their face is all contorted because they're trying their hardest to convey to you the terror that they feel.
Yeah. And it's very close up. And it's, I mean, it ends up being pretty effective to me of like, yeah, that works. That's how people would react probably. Well, I don't know if that's how people would react, but in terms of a horror movie, it's effective and like interesting to look at. It's always interesting to look at ugly crying faces. The star of the movie, what's his name?
Matthias?
Yeah, the character is Matthias, played by Colin Woodall, which is, I don't think there's any known actors in this at all. There's no random appearance by Samuel L. Jackson or anything. It's all just unknown actors, which works to its favor. Again, just in the format. Looks like you're just spying on random strangers that are all very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
Why don't we go over who the characters in the movie? Who are the stereotypes?
Okay, yeah. So
Matthias is like, he's a developer.
Yeah.
And sounds
like an app
seems
guy.
pretty like shady because he's just like, I saw this computer.
It was in Lost and Found for 4 weeks, guys. Come on.
So I took it.
I mean,
that tells you a lot about his personality.
Yeah.
You know? So that's kind of interesting. There's him,
his girlfriend, who is Amaya.
Amaya, and she's deaf.
She's deaf,
and they're having
beautiful.
Relationship problems
And
because
she's gorgeous.
She's very gorgeous. Like she's a Puerto Rican model in real life, which is very believable because she's kind of got the face where you're like, I can look at this. I can look at this for a while.
Good choice.
And
she's deaf.
And she's deaf. And so there's a lot of the story is surrounding their relationship and him not being able to understand her because he doesn't know sign language real well.
Right. The relationship issues are like, you've made no effort in all the time we've been together to learn the only language that I can speak.
He's like, I don't see it as much of a problem.
I'm trying.
I've tried, but it was sign language is hard.
You know how it is.
Yeah, and he makes a program which is able to translate his talking to him signing. Like it translates it into sign language for her, and she makes the point of like, I can understand you. I can read lips. The problem is you don't understand me.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh yeah, that would be a problem.
So
and then there's a great moment where there's a clip of them like on a hike, and she's like signing to him, and he's just looking at the camera. He's like, I don't know what she's saying. But man, she's gorgeous.
She's good to look at, though. She is.
It's like, I get what I mean. As a bro, I understood.
Yeah, I understood. And it's very easy to understand her point of view, which is, you're a bad human being.
Yeah.
Like, I know what I look like.
Right.
My other senses are heightened because I can't hear. I can see me just fine.
So Matthias is the main character. Amaya is like his girlfriend that is in danger that he wants to make sure doesn't die. And then everyone else is just like kind of stereotypes that are you can fill in with anyone. So there's a conspiracy theorist guy.
Yeah.
That's like
who's does an admirable job at being the comic relief in this movie.
Right. And it's not too annoying. It was just the right balance. There's another guy that's the resident computer expert, I
Yeah.
guess, networking guy that
Yeah.
he texts every once in a while. There's Asian girl musician.
Oh yeah,
She's
boy,
got-
I forgot all about her.
Just surrounded, because she has nothing to say or do in the movie other than spoiler alert die. I mean, it's in the trailer, so it's not really that much of a spoiler. And then
the lesbian couple. Yeah,
that just got engaged, and they took her mother's ring, which is actually still alive but dying. So
yeah.
it's kind of like we laughed to ourselves. Just imagine,
Hey mom, I gotta
your mom
go.
on the deathbed. It's like, you're not gonna be around.
Can I just
like
have,
just
can I have the
slowly
ring?
sliding off her wedding
While
ring.
a tear is rolling down her face. And
The
she's
mother's like trying to struggle, but she's not strong enough to.
like, that didn't happen. That just happened in our imagination.
Yeah, I mean, we're just filling it. Just like why it's all glitched out whenever the dark web person's on screen. This is just the untold story. So the lesbian couple. Was there anyone else? I think that was everyone.
Yeah, that was everyone.
So they're on cameras, and the premise is they have a game night.
Yeah.
And they're playing a game that would be very terrible to play over video conferencing.
Oh my god! Like
they're playing Cards Against Humanity. One among the many trendy fad topics.
Yeah, this
brought up
movie
in
is
this
all
movie.
about pop culture and like trends, or like nodding at trends, right?
Right. So I mean, the dark web itself.
Right.
I mean, it's one of those keywords that people like know. Oh, the dark web, and they assume that they know what it is, and they don't really. I mean, even this movie kind of explains what it is, but really,
Yeah, no, it gives the actual definition of the dark web, which
Right.
is just not index
Yeah,
sites that aren't indexed by Google.
yeah,
The end.
you can't find them, and most of them are extremely boring. But then there's some shady stuff going on,
Yeah.
and the shady stuff is probably way more boring than what's in this movie.
Still exciting. Kind of.
I mean-
it's like, oh, I could get a vampire bat for some bitcoins or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, that's kind of exciting. I like bats, I guess.
So let's go over the trend topics that are covered in this movie. So dark web, which is in the title.
Yeah, dark web.
We got Cards Against Humanity.
Cards Against Humanity, and then
We got
the comic relief dude, the conspiracy theorist touches on like all the most popular kind of political conspiracy theories of kind of right now.
yeah, a lot of being woke in the movie.
Oh yes.
You know.
You guys wait. And yeah, there was sheeple was said several times in this movie.
Yeah.
Wake up, sheeple. I think that was said 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. Oh, Bitcoin.
Bitcoin was another one. Yeah, there was some transfers of Bitcoin, and then there was,
Which is always funny whenever you have to us for whoever the target market of this movie is, which would be people that wouldn't be bothered looking at computer screens because that's their entire life, probably young people, maybe. They don't need to have Bitcoin explained to them,
right?
But they definitely do in this movie.
Yeah,
that was one of the questions I had. Is like, who is this movie for? And just looking in the theater, who was there with us?
It was us.
It was us and younger.
Yeah,
most of the other people were younger on a date or something. It's like, yeah, that works. We saw this movie on when did we see it? Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday. So it was the Tuesday following the opening, and it was only playing in one theater.
Yeah,
like it was the opening. It was the week after the opening weekend, and it's like in our areas there was only one theater that was showing it. So it's not probably a super popular movie, probably not a big moneymaker, but I mean, I guess it's so cheap that the distribution is probably not a problem.
As of the 25th, its gross was $5.5 million. So,
nice.
And its budget was $1 million.
Wow.
So it's not doing gangbusters, but I mean it's got another month.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, let's talk about the silly stuff in the movie. What doesn't work or what pulls you out of the movie? There's a couple things that. It's stuff that's not too terrible that it's unforgivable. It's just horror movie stuff or movie stuff. So, I mean, the stuff that doesn't make it super believable, like the dark web person is messaging Matthias like all the time, and you're hearing this sound like all the time.
It's like the upside down sound of
the upside down
of a
sound.
Facebook Messenger.
And it's coming on like over and over again,
and it's only visible to Matthias.
Yeah, and only he can hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, just at the beginning of this podcast, I got a virus alert message on my computer, and it's loud as hell on the podcast because I didn't turn down the volume. And I'm sure all of his friends would be like, what the fuck was that?
What was that?
Are you playing a game? Are you playing a game based on creepy Facebook messages? And then there's another sound that's like the erasure of it. Like,
The screen starts shaking entirely, and then the messages that he sent over Facebook that are in a totally different text are erased. The unerasable messages for anybody else are erasable for this hacker.
Right.
And the other thing is the thing that I can see, like, it doesn't bother me, continuity issues in movies, unless they're glaring and terrible.
Yeah.
They don't bother me so much. I'm willing to get into a movie and be like, I'm going to suspend my disbelief and just see what they got. But there is a lot of
there's a moment where, like, at the end of the movie where Matthias isn't on the screen, and I thought that he wasn't on the call, but you hear him screaming in reaction to something that's happening on screen. I'm like, maybe I just missed something.
There's a bunch of little spots like that.
Yeah, it's like, what's going on? And like, I mean, very much like moments where all the screens of his friends are hidden. Like, he just kind of like puts them off to the side, and he's like just doing something else on the computer screen. It's never like
they'll be in like rapt conversation with each other over something very important to all of them, and then he'll just be like mute, and he mutes them, and they just continue talking, and then when he comes back, they're not like, hey man, where the heck did you go? They're like, hey, what's up? Like, it's like we were having an in-depth conversation about some life or death stuff here, and you just kind of like bailed for a couple minutes. So maybe we could talk about like what was going on over there.
Which is also kind of interesting in terms of like commentary on society of like, how many times have you done that? Like, I'll have my wife
doing it right now.
talking to me in the room, like, about something important about our kids, about like, we need to do this tomorrow. And I'm like, but I'm like just clicking. I'm playing a game on the computer or something.
Yeah, there's
or I'm
plenty
like,
of times where
I'm on Reddit reading an article that I'm more paying attention to than that. I'm like, I got it. I can multitask.
There are moments where I'm like a person listening to a dog whistle with other people who are talking at me, and I'm like, I can't hear them. I zoned them out. So I mean, if continuity bothers you, this'll really bother you. In my opinion, you should chill out though, because that's not a cool way to go through life. You're going to be exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, the answer to all these dumb questions of like, hey, why don't they hear the creepy Facebook message sound? Like, why aren't they ever reacting to him leaving? It's like, the answer is it's a movie.
Yeah, the answer is shut up, idiot.
Yeah. So that's not too bad. The other very movie thing is towards the end, the dark web hacker person hack the conspiracy theorist videos to call in a bomb threat to the police.
Oh yeah,
and they are on the ball. Like within like T-minus 5 seconds, they're busting down the door to his basement.
Yeah, as soon as things are set in motion, they happen right now. Which, don't get me wrong, I appreciate very much, because it moves this movie along pretty quickly. This movie doesn't really slow down once it gets moving.
Right.
It just kind of builds momentum. But the speed with which the SWAT team got there was seconds. It was like Oh man, and there was some great Final Destination moments in this movie. There was one in particular that was just like I almost clapped. Like it was like bravo. That made my hackles rise. Like that was pretty cool.
Well, go ahead and say it.
So the comic relief conspiracy theorist guy, his whole thing was like, "Hey man, I'm not even on the web. You can't trace me because I'm grayed out, you know, like I don't use my name anywhere."
Even though he has a video blog.
Even though he has a YouTube channel with like a bunch of identifying information. So when it comes time to do away with him, the hackers they compile a bunch of quick snippets of all the videos that he's put on YouTube and gets him to say some alarming words on it. So they call a 911 operator, play all these quick snippets of his voice that end up being him calling in a bomb threat and saying that he has a gun or something like that. And
well, usually with bomb threats, he's saying he has a bomb.
Yeah, but
that's what a bomb threat is,
right?
Usually,
but yeah. Well, I can't recall exactly what, so I'm covering all my bases here.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so they make this call to a 911 operator, and then while he's up, going to the bathroom or talking to his mom or something like that, and all the other spectators in this Skype call are like, "Oh my God, no, don't!" Ah! They're watching this go down because the hacker's toying with them, and so when he comes back to his seat in front of the webcam, he gets a knock. It's like bang, 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 bang at the front door, and it's like, "It's the SWAT team. We're here!" And this is like seconds after the call was placed, and he's like, "What's going on?" And he's kind of like walking away from the computer towards the stairs, and then the hackers compose another quick clip of a shotgun cocking, and then they hack into his sweet new speaker setup that is a huge,
right.
These massive tower stereo speakers, and then they crank the volume up to 11, and they, as soon as they hear the SWAT team bust in the front door, and they watching him with his hands up, and you just hear over the speakers the loudest gunshot or the loudest shotgun cock you've ever heard in your life. It's just, and then they just blow this guy away, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
it was great. Like I could watch that on repeat.
What happens is I guess we haven't really filled in what the plot of the movie technically is.
Yeah, we should probably do that a little bit.
So, like, what sets them in this danger is, so the guy steals the laptop. There's a bunch of shady stuff stored on the laptop, and
really shady stuff.
Yeah, really
it's
shady
like
stuff.
Videos. It's like videos that hint at rape and torture, and kidnapping and human trafficking.
Yeah, very very much like creepypasta stuff. That's like, oof, what is actually going on, and then definitely stuff that's really bad going on. Yeah, I mean, for most of it, they don't really show much like this. We said, like it's pretty close to a PG-13. It's pretty tame. So the owner, or the purported owner of the laptop, contacts Matthias through Facebook Messenger for the account of the person whose computer it is, and they go to make an exchange, and then there's a bunch of threats from the hacker, and they threaten his girlfriend Amaya's life. And then his friends...
all these threats are being made strictly to Matthias.
Yeah. And he's got to keep it a secret from his friends.
Or else they die.
Everyone dies if anything happens. Yeah. And then eventually they start poking around, and the secret's out. He lets them know what's going on, that Amaya's in danger. And they go poking around the computer and find out that, that the dark web exists, and that there's a bunch of shady stuff going on, and there's like...
Wake up, sheeple.
Yeah, wake up, sheeple. And then you find out that it's not just this one guy that they have to worry about, but this vast network of shady people buying, torture and death
buying
videos.
Very specific, alarming, torturous, and heinous stuff.
Right.
From other people.
And so it's no longer, now that everyone knows, it's no longer just his friends and himself and Amaya that are in danger, but also like the original hacker. The original hacker's like, oh crap, like you revealed us all, and now we're all gonna die. And like suddenly the hacker that had all the glitched out video just turns off the glitch and just unhoods himself and
He's
looks
like,
in the
what's
camera.
up, guys? Why'd you do that?
Why? Stop it. So that's the plot of the movie, and that's why everyone dies.
Right, right, because they found the dark web, and now
they talked about it.
Yeah,
you don't talk about the dark web.
Yeah, there is.
That's why it's dark.
There is a twist that I don't think that we should mention, but this does not give away the full plot of the movie. There is a significant twist, which actually brings up another point. There are 2 different theatrical release endings to this movie.
Yeah, we found out about this afterwards.
Yeah,
didn't realize. So we saw like one of the endings.
We saw one of the endings, and there's apparently there's no real good way, So unless your theater has 2 copies of this, you're only going to see.
Yeah,
you have to go to another theater and hope that they have the other version of it. And there's no way to know unless you're going to like ask an employee of the theater,
right?
Like, hey,
and they might even know.
Yeah, do you know this movie has 2 endings? And then the kid's gonna be like, what? Which movie?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. There was a couple people that poked their head in, and I was like, why is there?
Yeah,
interest? And maybe that was it.
Maybe,
but I mean, they poked him in the middle of the movie, so I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, spoiler alerts. I went on the web and what the 2 endings were, and it's just basically one ending, which we saw was everyone dies, and then the second ending is some people don't die.
Oh,
or one person doesn't die.
Ah,
so it's a happy ending.
Oh, well, maybe.
But it was actually so apparently in the ending that we didn't see, Matthias gets buried alive.
Oh,
which would be pretty disturbing.
Yeah,
and Amaya lives.
Oh, well, she's hot, so
yeah,
she
should. I mean, that's how it should.
That's not how it usually works out, unfortunately.
Right.
But what are you going to do?
Yeah.
No gratuitous.
That's kind of interesting. I mean, not that like it's probably going to be in theaters for very long, but that alone, you might want to wait until it comes out on DVD to see both endings. So
I wonder how they're going to play that, like on streaming. Like, will they just choose one and then?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Huh.
I mean, definitely when it comes out on Blu-ray or whatever, they're going to have both endings on there that you can see.
I don't think I've ever actually. No, I have. I've bought movies on like Google Play.
Yeah.
And Amazon, and I've never actually done any of the navigation through them into like any of the bonus features, and I don't know if they even have them. I don't think they do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you buy it, they have you get the bonus features and stuff, but if you like rent it, you don't get any of that stuff.
I don't think you do. I don't know. Maybe if you know the answer to this question, please tell us because I got some stuff I need to watch.
Yeah. So yeah, what else do we got to talk about? We talk about the 2 endings. I think that's pretty much it. So I mean, what if you were to give a recommendation on this? Is this worth seeing? Who would like this? Scale of 1 to 10 kind of thing. So let's define 1 to 10. I think we got a complaint from a friend that we didn't define what our 1 to 10 was.
Okay. Well, I define my 1 to 10, which is like something you'd find on 1 would be something you'd find on Mystery Science Theater 3000. Just a truly garbage piece of garbage that's like just a real stinker. And then a 10 would be, There Will Be Blood. Like a masterpiece of a movie, which in the case of horror would be The Witch. Mm-hmm. For me, is a true 10. Hereditary is a true 10.
Yeah, like for me, 1 would be a movie that's so bad it's not even bad enough to make fun of. It's just a dredge, and it's just miserable watching it, and you wouldn't even have fun watching it with friends.
Yeah.
10 would be just like a completely original, well told, like disturbing like movie that I'd think about constantly for the next week, and
Yeah.
that was Hereditary. That's
I
the
haven't
most
stopped.
recent one.
I have not stopped thinking about Hereditary since we saw that, and it was.
I just read that Hereditary was the highest grossing movie for A24 films.
Wow.
Just surpassed Lady Bird.
It got a lot of weird hate. Like, I don't know why, but like one person I told, they were like, they're like, do you know horror movies? I was like, I've watched a lot of them. I mean, I don't know, they were like, did you see Hereditary? I was like, yeah. What did you think of it? I thought it was one of the best things I ever seen. They were like, oh my God. Oh, that's horrible. I was like, did you see it? And they're like, no, but I read an article about it, and it was not, I think there's some alarming things that happened in that movie that had people upset.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
like,
it's very, very disturbing, definitely. But like, it's a great.
It's
movie.
not even like it's
like
not.
if you don't like that movie, then I don't respect you as a person.
Ooh,
and you shouldn't be listening to this podcast. Go away.
Yeah.
Go away if you don't like that movie.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sets the bar extremely high in a lot of different ways.
Anyways, that's our 1 to 10.
That's our 1 to 10.
Yeah.
And
10 is Hereditary.
and
so every other movie is 9.
Yeah.
No, Hereditary or The Witch, just something that's like super high quality and stays with you. 1 is just a piece of shit. Yeah. So on that scale, with that scale in mind, originally I was thinking about giving this like a 7. But now, kind of with that in mind, I'd probably err closer to a 6. But and that's not detrimental. Like, this was an enjoy. Like, I would recommend this for someone who needs something to watch on a Friday or Saturday night. They want to watch something scary and not bad. This is not bad. It's perfectly it's a perfectly decent movie that you won't hate. Having watched, it is another piece of the plethora of stuff that will be streaming that you can just go, oh, that was pretty good. Like, hey, and I could talk to somebody about this and be like, you'd have a good time with this. Yeah, I'd give it probably a 5 or a 6. Probably aired on 6. It's slightly better than average.
Yeah,
for a horror movie.
Yeah,
like nothing truly stands out, but it's well executed. There's nothing terrible. It's not boring.
The subject matter's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the stuff it hints at is I mean, yeah, it's disturbing, but that's also what makes it interesting. And and it's like, and the other thing about it is, I'm sure this, Jason probably doesn't exist out there, right? I think we can all kind of agree that Freddy not happening. The stuff on this that could happen. It could happen. Not necessarily the setup of the actual movie, but the subject matter that they're talking about: human trafficking, torture porn, all that kind of weird stuff. That's just like, oh God, I hope that doesn't happen, but I know it does, and that's kind of what makes this movie interesting. And
yeah. Who do you think would like this movie, and who do you think would hate it? I think old people would hate it.
Yeah, old people would hate it.
Like no one's.
If you don't have a decent grasp of computers, you're just out. And there are plenty of older individuals who have a very decent grasp of computers who could follow this pretty well. So that's not like a hard recommendation. You're like, I identify as old. Don't go. I'm not gonna go see this. Like, just beware that there's gonna be. It's kind of jarring. It's a jarring format in general.
Yeah.
So if you aren't up on computers, this is gonna be hard for you.
Yeah. It's probably a decent date movie.
Oh yeah.
Like I mean, if your significant other like hates horror movies, like there's nothing too.
No, this is
disturbing. Nothing too scary. It's everything that's like horrific happens off screen.
Yeah, it's a pretty soft R.
Lots of cutaway stuff.
It's a pretty soft R. It could easily be PG-13 if it weren't for the insinuation of alarming subject matter.
So, yeah, go see it when it comes out on streaming.
Yeah,
or DVD. Rent it. It's definitely a good rental. I doubt that it'll be out in theaters for very long. there's a bunch of stuff
Yeah.
coming out soon. But yeah, that's our review. Thank you for listening. We actually do have a website up now.
A website, a Facebook, soon to be a YouTube channel, I think.
Yeah, we've got all that set up. Nothing's really populated. Even the website just has a lot of, like, lorem ipsum on it until we fill it out. But it's there. We'll very soon have an ability to subscribe. So subscribe to the podcast. Maybe I'll just do that today.
Yeah.
And join us. Let us know what you think. We're very open to suggestions. We're still kind of winging it, figuring out what our specialty in the podcast is and defining it. I have a friend that has a podcast that we just listened to his intro and we're like, oh man,
it's good.
He knows what he's doing.
Damn.
Yeah.
But he's thought about this.
He's thought about this. We just like talking about movies.
Yeah. I just wanted to talk into a microphone.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're not Bryce Hansen or David Day, let us know what you think. Let us know what we're screwing up. What movie would you like us to review next? If there's an older movie or something that you're curious what our take is, let us know. And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.